Hello, everyone. Good evening to all of those joining us from New York, Brussels, and Jakarta, our three main cities involved here on World MUN Day. My name is Philippe. I'm the director of World MUN Day, and you've seen me perhaps too much over the day today, but I am extremely happy to welcome you all to this closing panel, where we're going to discuss a little bit about World MUN Day, why it came to be, reflecting on it, and how we can actually keep it going in the future and the years ahead of time. I'm joined by two wonderful women today who are longtime MUNers, young professionals, and I could not be prouder to introduce them both. Firstly, we have Sasha Sternik, who's the CEO and co-founder of Peritech, that focuses on young women in technology across Central Asia, and she's also a good friend of mine from MUN. So thank you for joining us, Sasha.
My pleasure.
And another person you have met before today during this day, but nevertheless, I'm very happy to welcome her again, Maryam Nsaif. She's a long-time Rotaractor, also a young professional energy consultant, and a good friend of mine too from MUN across the world.
I'm happy to be here. Hi, Philippe.
Hello, both. So I want to start a little bit with this closing panel, reflecting on where World MUN Day came from. As we referenced in the opening panel, 100 years ago, close to this date, on November 15th, the Oxford International Assembly was one of the first student-run international simulations of an international organization. Now, this was quite important in some ways and not as influential in others, but nevertheless, it's, in my opinion, one of the stepping stones that really got universities and students engaged in international relations, international organizations, as they do today. The specifications might be different, the procedures are very different, but nevertheless, for me, I like to sort of work for that. So myself and other MUNers at the beginning of this year worked together to create World MUN Day as a day to celebrate not just model United Nations, which we all know and love, but also how youth actually engage and have impact in the United Nations and across the international system itself. For this first edition, we were very happy to introduce all of the 10 specific events and, of course, our opening ceremony and our current closing ceremony. And we hope you all enjoyed them too. There will be chances to watch them back later, do not fear. And in this final panel, I want to talk a little bit further about that. Why do we think it's important and where do we want to go from here? Now, before you hear my answers to those particular questions, I want to give it straight over to Sasha, Maryam, to discuss a little bit more, maybe some of their experiences and where they see this going. Sasha, over to you.
I can't underestimate the importance of MUN in my life, and I can't underestimate my desire to how I would like to spread the MUN across various regions and across all the people who I know. Because truth to be told, MUN actually got me where I am, not in terms of professional development, because I'm currently working with UNDP and I've worked with few other international organizations before, but mostly just by the way I think. MUN kind of gives us a very systematic approach to how we think, to how we structure our arguments, how we talk, because of course you have to deliver speeches, or even how we react in unforeseen situations, because crisis, my favorite one. And I think, and I truly believe that every young person in the world should have a chance to experience MUN. Of course, it's not for everyone, and that's absolutely normal and absolutely perfect. But if there is a chance that you will love it, you probably should try it. Plus, as you can see here, you can meet so many amazing people and get so many amazing friends, because we actually all met at different MUNs. And small hint, it makes for perfect couch surfing, because we all are from everywhere. We all are very close, if that makes sense, because when you're in a MUN, you work for 12, 14, 16, 18 hours per day, and then you party for the rest. So of course you become close and you become real friends. And I do believe that the World MUN Day is a perfect opportunity to celebrate this friendship, to celebrate us overcoming our differences, and to celebrate the world how it is. I do believe that MUN Day is supposed to show off how much youth can do and how much we are actually capable of, and how can we change the world. Because as Philippe mentioned before, I'm the founder and CEO of my own startup, which is dedicated to women in tech. And I'm not sure that I would have been come here without MUN, because one of my first or second conferences was actually on women. And I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. I can relate to this because, hi, obviously I'm a girl. And I just think, and I believe that this is very important for people to go through that, to learn how to write various documents, how to write resolutions, because you never know where you will end up and when it will be helpful. And thank you for all of you to actually being here today, because we hope that, I can't speak for everyone, but I personally hope that you enjoyed it and that you actually learned something new, and maybe you want to try MUN if you haven't done it before, or better even, if you will actually get your friend who hasn't tried it before to try it with you, because then the community will grow, and community is everything here. I'm sorry for speaking for so long, by the way. It's just that I'm very passionate about that, because MUN was a very important part of my life and still is, and I still have so many friends. Maryam, over to you.
So I don't wanna, I feel like we're having like a super ad for MUN at the moment. So I'm gonna try and break down my answer into why MUN, and then also importance of World MUN Day. And if I'm going to talk about the impact of MUN, I'm gonna try to not repeat what Sasha said, but it's basically, it made me who I am today. MUN is the reason I achieved everything I have to this point in time, be it, through my professional experiences or even soft skills and personal development, but also in my interpersonal relationships and the friends that I've met and the people that I've connected with. MUN in general, whenever anyone, so here I'm going to tie it to why World MUN Day. I think it's so important to have an event like World MUN Day, because anytime someone comes up to me and they're like, why do you do MUN so much? We dedicate so much time to MUN. And so you have to commit to MUN. There's a time commitment, obviously. There's effort that you have to put into it, but it's all worth it at the end. And so World MUN Day really is here to, number one, show the newcomers or people who are not familiar with MUN what MUN is and why it's so important and why it can literally change your life. But also for the first time or second time MUNers who are they're in it but they're not, and they're wondering if they should take it to the next level, because there are levels in MUN. You can attend one conference or you can attend 100. So this will show you why, and it's the networking, the connections, the experiences that you get to build through this amazing experience that you quite literally will not be able to find anywhere else. But also, it's such a wonderful opportunity for experienced MUNers, like I believe everyone in this panel is, to kind of come back and connect and bring more people to our side, which is like the light side. And I think MUN in general is not, I personally believe it's, at least in my part of the world, it's not represented as properly as it should be, and not enough people know what MUN actually is. We're not just people wearing suits and just talking nonsense. We're actually there to do something, and a lot of good things come out of an MUN conference. And so I think that is what I hope World MUN Day has been trying to convey, and it has been successfully conveying really throughout the whole day. And really, that's it. That's my bit.
Thank you both. I think I fully agree with everything you said there. I just want to pick up on a few points and maybe kind of, echo in my mind when I think about it. Number one is what you said, reflecting on MUN, because the average number of MUNs people do is one. If you look at obviously the median number, I guess, the most number people do is just one, and then they leave. And of course you have obsessives like myself, and I believe you're tending towards that, who do many, but we don't get a chance to reflect on it. We don't really get a chance to talk to people who've done very different experiences and try and look to share best practices and best ideas. Our panel on Secretary General, for example, which Maryam, you helped join as well, I think was very valuable in that. And that's one of the other reasons I think World MUN Day is very important. We actually get to go back into it and think, well, why did it go like that? There's such an intense experience in terms of the preparation. The conference itself is intense, and even the after conference is intense. We sometimes lock it away almost. We put it in a box. This was that MUN. I'm done with that. And with our careers as well, you know, we're obviously all aware in our heads how it helped us. All of us would not be anywhere where we are today without the skills, soft skills of that MUN. But we don't think about it more practically. And for those who don't see it, you know, how does MUN help? What did it do for us? How can it continue to do better for others? Some people have negative experiences of MUN and also don't get away to feedback. And that's a big part of this. The second one is, just as you said, for experienced MUNers as well, to highlight a little bit of the impact they've already had. So that's one of the reasons I think we tried to have talks with presidents of the UNGA, who obviously have a very intense job in their role at the UNGA. And it's a way for us to be able to talk to more experienced people, much like our open panelists. In the future, we'd love to talk to more, reach out to the UN Youth Envoy as well, and discuss a bit more closely with those within the UN itself, how we can make an impact. And lastly, it is also there to bring together societies and trainings across the world. MUN can be competitive, too competitive. Sometimes conferences can clash, people can clash over what really aren't ideas or ideals to clash over. We're all here for the same reasons, towards a vaguely common good underpinned by the values of the United Nations and multilateralism. So my view for the future of World MUN Day is quite simply having every single MUN society and organization in the world affiliated and linked to World MUN Day. So every single MUNer, whether interested, experienced or not, can have a way to feed into a collective day to celebrate MUN and the impact they have on the international scene. Youth as well have become so important and influential across a huge range of sectors and societies in international relations that there is no way that we can't at least have a smaller celebration run by us, for us, essentially. And that's my idea there. We don't know when next year's World MUN Day is going to be, though we can tell you in 2023 there is going to be a very special edition, but that is in quite a while of time. And otherwise, I want to talk to a bit more of my panelists about maybe some of the reflections here. What do you want to see in next year's edition of World MUN Day? Maybe Sasha, please.
I do have to agree with you that I want to see more representation of various MUN societies around the world, because it's kind of the same thing here as Maryam said, that in my part of the world, MUN is not as widespread as it is, for example, in the UK or in Europe, which is kind of not fun, because not only it's an amazing practice for the language sake or for soft skills or for even hard skills, but also it's just such a great way to make friends, especially to make international friends, especially now when, you know, the world is kind of not the same as it used to be. And I would really love, I would love more panels. I'd love more information, because what's been today has been really, really great. And I'm really looking forward for the next year's edition. I do believe it will be even more awesome than it is now. And I'm just really looking forward to it.
Thank you. Maryam, anything you want to add?
So I know like the day is packed full of panels, but I agree. I think more panels, you know, more experiences, more insight, more information, but also what I would like to see moving forward, perhaps delegate experiences, and not, you know, not a chair, not a secretary general, a delegate, someone who's never been on the organizing committee of an MUN, just come up and talk about MUN from that perspective. And then maybe even World MUN Day becoming like a hub of information for MUNers worldwide, in a way that we can kind of bring together all these experiences and kind of make them into one. So it's a place where you can, a place where you can actually celebrate MUNs, like you said, you know, for us, by us. So a place where you can actually celebrate and have it be more of a celebration, because it is, like you said, it is. So that's really where I would like to see, I actually see the direction of World MUN Day heading that way. And if I am brave enough to say it, perhaps an in-person event, a live World MUN Day celebration somewhere in the world where, you know, MUNers can just join us for a celebration of what we've done so far in our MUN careers.
No, I fully agree. And you're brave, but that is certainly, I think, the intention. There's a small virus going around the world that made things a little difficult for us, I have to admit, this year. And we can pray and hope that next year that's not the case, but everyone will get some invitation to a physical event. And just as you mentioned, Sasha, more representation. I'd say generally representation across the board. We've tried to do our best here today, but it can always be improved. I can always bring new experiences and new people, and I'm extremely proud of what we managed to do so far, but there's always ways to go. And you're correct, Maryam. That is the direction I think that we'll be heading, and hopefully we'll be able to realize it more fully in the coming years. Are there any kind of final words? Because both of you sort of finished an illustrious MUN career. You're now young professionals. Any maybe words of recommendation, sort of final ones recapping, not just MUN, which, by the way, we are not sponsored by any one MUN organization. I think if there was an organization called MUN that had money to sponsor us, they probably would. We partner with a lot, which I'll discuss in a minute. But yeah, back to you, Sasha and Maryam, for maybe final comments and words, reflections for those listening, talking directly to the participants of those who are listening.
I have to give the only advice that I always do give: be brave. You never know what's happening around the corner. You never know where your journey will bring you to. If MUN is a part of your journey, then use it as much as you can. Get all the skills, get all the knowledge, get all the connections, because networking is extremely important. And like, MUN is so good for networking. Please don't ever forget that. And just enjoy what you're doing, because after all, MUN is not only hard work, but it's very much fun. And you, in either way, despite of the career you will choose, or you already chose, honestly, MUN will always find a way to help you. Maybe by connections, maybe by the skills you got, maybe by weirdly writing resolutions, because I never thought I would get used to that, but I got, and it kind of helps me now for my consultancy work. And just enjoy what you do. That's the most important thing, because you can, and MUN is run by youth for youth, and you're most probably the youth, although no ageism here. Just do what you like, enjoy it, and get the most of it.
Maryam, final comment.
I'm not sure if you saw my reaction, Sasha, but you took the words right out of my mouth. I was preparing my answer and it was be brave, because that is what you have to do. You have to be brave. You have to have an open mind, and you need to be at peace with yourself when you go into the MUN world. You need to know that this experience is here for you, literally for you, and you can make the complete best out of it. How you treat an MUN conference and how you go into it, an MUN conference is exactly how that conference will treat you in return. If you go in with the mindset of wanting to make the best of it, then you will certainly make the best of it. No matter what conference level it is, no matter where it is in the world, you will definitely come out with a mind-blowing experience one way or another. You have to be open to these experiences and be okay with learning, and just know that MUN worldwide is so different. Any conference you go to in different parts of the world, they're the same, but they're different. And so that's really where the open-mindedness really has to come in. And I just, if I have a piece of advice, or it's not a piece of advice, just a wish for the youth of the future, it's to engage in MUN as much as they can. So the MUNers of the future, engage in MUN as much as you can. The past 2 years have been hard on the MUN community because of the pandemic, but they still managed to pull through with the online conferences. Now there's going to be a transition period. If you were introduced to MUN during the pandemic online, take that leap of faith and go to your nearest local in-person MUN conference. I promise you it's going to be worth it.
Thank you so much. And just to answer, I guess, my own question here is just don't let anything stop you. World MUN Day was not something that necessarily was, destined to be. It wasn't going to necessarily have to be this year. It just did. A group of us decided we were going to make it happen, and we made it happen. And we're here today. And obviously, this is a small part of a large society and community that's already itself a small part of a huge dynamic community of youth, which is such a giant number of people and qualities and skills and experiences already that have to be harnessed in the future. At this point, I'd love to say thank you, firstly, to Sasha and Maryam for joining us for this World MUN Day closing panel. And I want to give thanks to some of the organizations who have helped us here. So the ones who've supported us, the World Federation of United Nations Associations, WFUNA, WiseMe, who have helped us with the platform today, MUN, who have had a huge influence on getting many of you here, so thank you very much, and MUN Command, the team of which are good friends of the World MUN Day organizing team. Those were the supporters this year, but those are not the only ones. As I said, next year, we legitimately have the plan to partner and work with everyone we can who is engaged. So please do reach out to us on our emails, to ourselves, and we'd love to get in contact with you. I've been Philippe. It has been an intense few months of MUNing of all sorts. And actually, if you stay there for 1 second, I was sad that I could not gavel the opening of the ceremony, but I have my gavel now. So without further ado, I've been Philippe Lefevre, Director of World MUN Day, and I declare this edition of 2021 closed.